Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing at the free throw line with seconds left on the clock. 20,000 people are screaming, millions are watching, and the weight of an entire season rests on your shoulders. For most, this pressure would be crushing. For Michael Jordan, it was fuel. Today, we embark into a 12-steps journey to understand the extraordinary mental architecture that separated Michael Jordan from every other athlete who ever lived, and more importantly, how you can build that same unshakable psychological foundation within yourself. It all starts with a strong, relentless mindset. Listen carefully, follow these 12 steps to rewire your brain. Tap into the unlimited power that shaped the best NBA athlete and businessman to ever exist, and awaken the giant that lives within yourself. What made Michael Jordan different wasn't just his physical gifts. Countless athletes possess remarkable physical talents. What truly set him apart was a mind so powerful, so disciplined, and so relentlessly focused that it could bend reality itself to its will. Jordan didn't just play basketball. He inhabited a psychological state so elevated that failure became merely feedback, pressure became opportunity, and obstacles became stepping stones to greatness. In Jordan's own words, "I've always believed that if you put in the work, the results will come." But this simple statement belies a profound truth about the nature of mental conditioning. Jordan understood something that neuroscience is only now beginning to fully appreciate: that the mind, through deliberate practice and unwavering belief, can literally rewire itself for excellence. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Neuroscience of the Champion's Mind. To understand Michael Jordan's psychological supremacy, we must first understand how the brain creates excellence. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, and every action you take creates neural pathways in your brain. Jordan's genius lay in his intuitive understanding that these pathways could be deliberately sculpted through relentless mental discipline. When Jordan stepped onto the court, his brain wasn't operating like an ordinary person's. Years of visualization, mental rehearsal, and pressure situations had created what neuroscientists call superhighways of neural efficiency. While others' minds might flood with doubt or distraction under pressure, Jordan's neural architecture was designed for one thing: optimal performance in the moment of truth. Consider how Jordan described his mental process. "I never looked at the consequences of missing a big shot." When you think about the consequences, you always think of a negative result. This wasn't mere positive thinking. This was sophisticated cognitive restructuring. Jordan had trained his mind to bypass the brain's natural tendency toward negative visualization, creating instead a pure channel of present-moment focus. The amygdala, our brain's fear center, typically fires rapidly under pressure, flooding our system with stress hormones that impair performance. But through years of mental conditioning, Jordan had essentially rewired this response. Where others felt fear, he felt excitement. Where others saw risk, he saw opportunity. This isn't metaphorical. Brain imaging of elite athletes shows measurably different neural activity patterns under pressure compared to average performers. In the words of Michael Jordan, "My attitude is that if you push me towards something that you think is a weakness, then I will turn that perceived weakness into a strength." This perfectly encapsulates the neuroplastic principle that our brains are constantly adapting based based on our focus and repetition. Jordan didn't just accept his weaknesses, he used them as raw material for neural reconstruction. Chapter 2: The Quantum Field of Possibility. Michael Jordan operated from a different energetic frequency than most humans. While others lived in the realm of probability, Jordan inhabited the quantum field of possibility. He understood intuitively what quantum physics tells us: that consciousness itself shapes reality, that the observer affects the observed, and that unwavering belief creates its own gravitational pull on outcomes. When Jordan visualized making a game-winning shot, he wasn't just imagining. He was collapsing probability waves into his desired reality. His mind operated with such clarity and conviction that it created what we might call a reality distortion field. Teammates, opponents, and even the basketball itself seemed to bend to his will because his mental frequency was so powerfully calibrated to success. This isn't mystical thinking, it's practical quantum mechanics applied to human performance. Every cell in your body is influenced by your mental state. Your thoughts create electromagnetic fields that extend beyond your physical form. Jordan's mental mastery meant that his very presence on the court changed the energetic dynamics of the game. In Jordan's own words, "I play to win, whether during practice or a real game. And I will not let anything get in the way of me and my competitive enthusiasm to win." This wasn't just competitive drive. This was a man who understood that every moment of mental focus was shaping his reality. He couldn't afford to operate at a lower frequency even in practice because he knew that consciousness doesn't distinguish between practice and real. Every moment is creating your future. The key to Jordan's quantum mastery was his absolute refusal to entertain thoughts of failure. While most people's minds oscillate between confidence and doubt, creating energetic static that weakens their manifestation power, Jordan maintained what we might call coherent consciousness, a stable, high-frequency mental state aligned completely with his desired outcomes. Chapter 3: The Delusional Grit Advantage. Perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of Michael Jordan's psychology was what we might call his delusional grit, an almost irrational belief in his to overcome any obstacle. This wasn't delusion in the clinical sense, but rather a deliberate choice to operate from a reality where failure simply wasn't an option. Jordan famously created slights and disrespects where none existed, using them as fuel for his mental furnace. He would convince himself that opponents had insulted him, that critics had doubted him, even when no such events had occurred. To the outside observer, this might seem like unnecessary psychological drama. But Jordan understood something profound about the nature of motivation. The mind doesn't distinguish between real and imagined emotional fuel. In the words of Michael Jordan, "I've never been afraid to fail." But this understates the reality. Jordan didn't just lack fear of failure. He had reconstructed his entire psychological relationship with failure. To him, failure was simply data, information about what adjustments to make. This cognitive reframing is what allowed him to take the shots others wouldn't dare attempt. This delusional grit manifested in Jordan's famous flu game, where he scored 38 points while severely ill. Any reasonable person would have recognized the physical impossibility of peak performance while sick. But Jordan didn't operate from reason. He operated from will. His mind overwrote the signals from his body, creating a performance that defied biological logic. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. When we believe something strongly enough, our brain begins producing the neurochemicals consistent with that belief. Jordan's absolute conviction in his ability triggered cascades of dopamine, norepinephrine, and endorphins that literally changed his physical capacity. His delusion became reality because consciousness is senior to circumstance. Chapter 4: The Daily Practice of Mental Supremacy. Michael Jordan's mental power wasn't accidental. It was cultivated through daily practices that would seem extreme to ordinary people. He understood that the mind, like the body, requires constant training to maintain peak condition. His mental regimen was as disciplined as his physical training, perhaps more so. Every morning, Jordan would spend time in what we now understand as a form of active meditation. He would visualize not just making shots, but the entire sensory experience of success. The feel of the ball leaving his hands, the sound of it swishing through the net, the roar of the crowd. This wasn't simple daydreaming. This was deliberate neural programming. In Jordan's own words, you have to expect things of yourself before you can do them. This expectation wasn't hope. It was a form of mental pre-creation. Jordan was literally building the neural pathways of success before stepping onto the court. Modern neuroscience confirms that visualization activates the same brain regions as actual performance, creating a form of mental muscle memory. Jordan also practiced what we might call pressure inoculation. He would deliberately create high-stress situations in practice, training his nervous system to remain calm under extreme pressure. He understood that confidence isn't the absence of pressure. It's the trained ability to perform despite pressure. This systematic desensitization to stress created a nervous system that thrived on what would crush others. His self-talk was meticulously cultivated. While most people allow random thoughts to dominate their mental landscape, Jordan programmed his internal dialogue with military precision. He would repeat affirmations not as wishful thinking, but as commands to his subconscious mind. I am the best player on this court wasn't arrogance. It was neural programming. Chapter 5: The Relentless Discipline of Thought. What separated Michael Jordan from other talented athletes was his absolute discipline over his mental state. While others allowed their thoughts to be influenced by circumstances, Jordan maintained iron control over his internal narrative. This wasn't suppression of negative thoughts. It was the trained ability to redirect mental energy toward useful ends. Jordan understood that every thought is a choice, and he chose his thoughts with the same precision he chose his shots. When faced with adversity, his mind didn't default to worry or complaint. Instead, he had programmed automatic thought patterns that transformed challenges into opportunities for growth. In the words of Michael Jordan, obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. This reveals his fundamental cognitive strategy. Every obstacle was simply a puzzle to be solved, not a reason to quit. This reframing is available to anyone willing to practice it, but few have the discipline to maintain it consistently. Jordan's discipline extended optimal balance of intensity and calm that peak performance requires. This emotional regulation wasn't suppression, it was mastery. The power of this discipline became most evident in clutch moments. While others' minds would race with possibilities and fears, Jordan's disciplined mind would narrow to a laser focus on the present moment. Years of mental training had created automatic programs that kicked in under pressure, allowing him to access flow states almost at will. Chapter 6: Bending Reality Through Will. Perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of Michael Jordan's psychology was his ability to impose his will on reality itself. This wasn't magical thinking. It was the practical application of focused consciousness to shape outcomes. Jordan understood that reality is more malleable than most people believe, and that unwavering will creates its own momentum. When Jordan declared he would score 40 points in a crucial game, it wasn't prediction, it was determination. His mind would lock onto this target with such intensity that his entire being would reorganize around making it happen. This is what separates desire from will. Desire hopes, will commands. In Jordan's own words, I realized that if I was going to achieve anything in life, I had to be aggressive. I had to get out there and go for it. This aggression wasn't just physical, it was mental. Jordan attacked reality with his consciousness, refusing to accept limitations that others considered fixed. This reality-bending quality was most evident in Jordan's ability to elevate his performance in the most critical moments. While most athletes experience performance degradation under extreme pressure, Jordan seemed to access another level of ability when it mattered most. This wasn't luck or coincidence. It was the result of a mind so powerfully trained that it could override normal human limitations. The mechanism behind this is profound. When consciousness focuses with sufficient intensity, it creates what physicists call coherence, a state where all systems align toward a single purpose. Jordan's will was so strong that it created coherence not just in his own body and mind, but in the field around him. Teammates played better, opponents made mistakes, and even random events seemed to favor him because his consciousness was broadcasting at such a powerful frequency. Chapter 7: The Architecture of Unstoppable Belief. Michael Jordan's belief system was architecturally different from that of ordinary people. While most construct their beliefs based on past evidence and current circumstances, Jordan built his beliefs on vision and will. He didn't believe in his ability because of proof. He created proof through his belief. This inverted causality is the secret of all extraordinary achievers. Jordan understood that belief precedes evidence, not the other way around. When he entered the NBA, he didn't wait for success to build confidence. He generated absolute belief first, then used that belief as the foundation for creating success. In the words of Michael Jordan, champions do not become champions when they win the event, but in the hours, weeks, months, and years they spend preparing for it. This preparation wasn't just physical. It was the careful construction of an unshakable belief system. Every practice session, every mental rehearsal, every moment of visualization was adding another layer to his psychological fortress. Jordan's beliefs were also remarkably resilient. When faced with setbacks that would shatter others' confidence, Jordan's belief system would actually strengthen. He had programmed his mind to interpret adversity as preparation for greater success. This anti-fragile quality of his psychology meant that the very experiences that break most people only made him stronger. The depth of Jordan's belief created what psychologists call self-fulfilling prophecies. Because he believed so completely in his ability to succeed, he would take actions that others wouldn't dare. These bold actions, born from absolute belief, would create results that reinforced the belief, creating an upward spiral of confidence and achievement. Chapter 8: The Transformation Protocol. Now we come to the critical question. How can you develop Michael Jordan's level of mental mastery? The answer lies not in copying his specific techniques, but in understanding the principles behind them and applying them with the same relentless consistency he demonstrated. First, recognize that your current mental programming is not fixed. Every thought pattern, every limiting belief, every fear response is simply neural wiring that can be changed through deliberate practice. Jordan wasn't born with his mental powers. He developed them through years of conscious effort. The same neuroplastic potential exists in your brain. Begin with clarity of vision. Jordan's power started with knowing exactly what he wanted to achieve. Not vague desires, but crystal clear mental images of specific outcomes. Spend time each day visualizing your ideal future with the same sensory richness Jordan brought to his mental rehearsals. See it, feel it, hear it, even taste and smell it. Make it so real in your mind that your brain begins preparing for its inevitability. In Jordan's own words, "Once I made a decision, I never thought about it again." This reveals a critical practice: decisive commitment. Most people leak mental energy through constant reconsideration of their decisions. Jordan conserved this energy by making irreversible mental commitments. Once he decided on a goal, all mental energy flowed toward its achievement, never backward toward doubt. Develop your own pressure inoculation protocol. Deliberately create challenging situations that push your comfort zone. If you fear public speaking, join a debate club. If you fear rejection, practice approaching strangers. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to train your nervous system to perform despite it. Jordan became clutch by practicing under pressure until pressure became his preferred state. Chapter 9: The Quantum Leap of Consciousness. To truly embody Michael Jordan's level of psychology requires what we might call a quantum leap in consciousness, a fundamental shift in how you relate to reality itself. This isn't gradual improvement, but a radical reorganization of your mental operating system. Jordan operated from what we could call cause consciousness, rather than effect consciousness. Most people see themselves as effects of their circumstances. Their confidence rises and falls based on external results. Jordan positioned himself as the cause. His internal state determined external results, not the other way around. This shift requires profound courage. It means taking absolute responsibility for your reality, refusing to blame circumstances, and maintaining your chosen mental state regardless of what appears to be happening around you. Jordan never said, "I lost because," he would say, "I didn't do enough to win." This subtle difference represents a completely different relationship with reality. In the words of Michael Jordan, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. This reveals his understanding that the only real failure is the failure to fully engage your consciousness in pursuit of your vision. Results are secondary to the full expression of will. To make this quantum leap, you must be willing to seem unreasonable to others. Jordan's teammates often described him as irrationally competitive, obsessively focused, even cruel in his demands for excellence. But Jordan understood that extraordinary results require extraordinary consciousness. You cannot achieve exceptional outcomes while maintaining ordinary thinking patterns. The quantum leap also requires embracing what might seem like contradiction. Jordan was simultaneously absolutely confident and perpetually hungry, completely satisfied with his effort yet never satisfied with his results, supremely individual yet understanding of team dynamics. This ability to hold paradox is a hallmark of elevated consciousness. Chapter 10: The Daily Awakening. Every morning represents an opportunity to activate Michael Jordan-level consciousness. But this requires more than casual positive thinking. It demands a systematic approach to mental activation that Jordan himself practiced religiously. Upon waking, before allowing random thoughts to populate your mind, take control of your consciousness. Jordan would lie in bed for several minutes, not scrolling through a phone or reviewing problems, but deliberately programming his mental state for the day ahead. He understood that the first thoughts of the day set the frequency for everything that follows. Begin with gratitude, not as a feel-good exercise, but as a way to activate the brain's reward circuits. Jordan was grateful not just for his successes, but for the opportunity to compete, to push himself, to discover his limits. This gratitude created a neurochemical environment conducive to peak performance. Next, engage in what Jordan called mental rehearsal. See yourself performing at your absolute best in the day's challenges. But don't just visualize success, visualize the process. See yourself maintaining composure under pressure, making difficult decisions with clarity, persisting when others would quit. This mental rehearsal creates neural pathways that your brain can follow when real challenges arise. In Jordan's own words, the minute you get away from fundamentals, whether it's proper technique, work ethic, or mental preparation, the bottom can fall out of your game. This mental preparation was as fundamental to him as physical training. He understood that every day required conscious activation of his championship psychology. Set clear intentions for the day, but hold them with what Buddhism calls non-attachment. Jordan wanted to win every game, but he wasn't attached to winning. He was attached to giving his absolute best effort. This distinction is crucial. Attachment creates tension and fear. Commitment creates focus and power. Chapter 11: The Mastery Mindset. Michael Jordan's approach to mastery was fundamentally different from how most people pursue excellence. While others sought to be good enough, Jordan sought to explore the absolute limits of human potential. This mastery mindset transforms how you approach every aspect of life. Mastery, as Jordan demonstrated, isn't about perfection. It's about the relentless pursuit of improvement. Even after winning multiple championships, Jordan continued to refine his game, to find new edges, to push boundaries. This growth mindset kept him psychologically young and engaged even as his body aged. In the words of Michael Jordan, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." This reveals his profound understanding that mastery is built on a foundation of failure. Each failure was data, each mistake a teacher. The mastery mindset also requires what Jordan demonstrated consistently: the willingness to be uncomfortable. While most people seek comfort, Jordan sought challenge. He understood that growth occurs at the edge of our capabilities, in the space where we're not quite sure we can succeed. He didn't just tolerate this discomfort, he craved it. This extends to mental discomfort as well. Jordan was willing to think thoughts that others wouldn't dare, to believe in possibilities that seemed absurd, to maintain confidence when evidence suggested otherwise. This mental courage is perhaps even more important than physical courage in achieving extraordinary results. The mastery mindset also involves what we might call infinite game thinking. Jordan wasn't just trying to win individual games, he was playing the infinite game of exploring human potential. This larger perspective allowed him to maintain motivation and intensity even after achieving more than most could dream of. Chapter 12: The Integration of Power. The final step in developing Michael Jordan-level psychology is integration, making these mental powers not something you do, but who you are. Jordan didn't have to consciously activate his champion's mindset before big games because it had become his default state of being. This integration requires consistent practice over time. Just as Jordan shot thousands of baskets to develop muscle memory, you must think thousands of empowering thoughts to develop mental memory. The goal is to make extraordinary thinking ordinary, to make exceptional mental states your natural baseline. Integration also means extending these principles beyond your primary arena of performance. Jordan's mental mastery wasn't confined to basketball. It influenced how he approached business, relationships, and life itself. True power can't be compartmentalized. It must flow through every aspect of your existence. In Jordan's own words, "To be successful, you have to be selfish, or else you never achieve. And once you get to your highest level, then you have to be unselfish." This reveals the evolutionary nature of integration. First, you must be selfish enough to develop your powers fully. Then you must be generous enough to use them in service of something greater than yourself. The integrated mind no longer sees challenges as problems, but as opportunities to express its power. Jordan's famous competitiveness wasn't about beating others. It was about the joy of fully expressing his capabilities. When you reach this level of integration, effort becomes effortless, discipline becomes desire, and work becomes play. Morning affirmations. The Jordan Protocol. What follows are the morning affirmations that embody Michael Jordan's mindset, the daily mental programming that creates championship consciousness. These aren't mere positive statements, but powerful commands to your subconscious mind. Speak them with the same intensity and conviction Jordan brought to everything he did. I wake up today as a champion. Before my feet hit and my mind controls my reality. I am not hoping for a good day. I am creating one through the power of my will and the discipline of my thoughts. I am relentless in my pursuit of excellence. Every cell in my body is aligned with my vision. Every thought in my mind serves my purpose. I don't just want success, I demand it from myself. I command my subconscious mind to organize all of my resources toward my goals. I see obstacles as opportunities. When others see walls, I see stepping stones. When others feel fear, I feel excitement. Every challenge that appears in my path today is a gift, a chance to discover new levels of my power, new depths of my determination. I am the master of my emotional state. I choose confidence over doubt, action over hesitation, persistence over surrender. My emotions are my servants, not my masters. I direct them with the same precision an athlete directs their body. Today I will fail forward. I embrace failure as my teacher, knowing that each mistake brings me closer to mastery. I will take the shots others are afraid to take, make the decisions others are afraid to make, because I know that my failures are more valuable than others' successes. I operate from cause, not effect. I am not waiting for circumstances to make me feel powerful. I generate power from within and project it into my circumstances. I am the author of my story, the architect of my reality, the force that shapes my world. My discipline is my freedom. While others are enslaved by their impulses, I am liberated by my discipline. Every moment of discomfort I embrace makes me stronger. Every temptation I overcome increases my power. My will is stronger than any circumstance. I expect excellence from myself. Not hope for it, not wish for it, expect it. This expectation isn't pressure, it's promise. I have prepared my mind and body for success, and now I simply allow that preparation to express itself. I am grateful for the opportunity to compete. Whether in business, relationships, or personal growth, I see life as a magnificent game, and I play to win. But winning isn't about defeating others. It's about discovering the edges of my own potential. My focus is laser sharp. In a world of distraction, I am a force of concentration. When I commit to a task, my entire being aligns behind it. Multitasking is for the mediocre. I bring the full force of my consciousness to bear on one target at a time. I trust my instincts. Years of mental training have developed an intuition that guides me toward right action. When the moment of decision comes, I don't hesitate. I act with the confidence of someone who has prepared for this moment their entire life. I am building my legacy today. Every action I take, every thought I think, every word I speak is adding to the story of who I am. I don't live for the approval of others. I live to honor the highest vision I have of myself. Pressure is my privilege. The weight of responsibility that would crush others only makes me stronger. I have trained my nervous system to thrive under pressure, to find flow in the midst of chaos, to discover calm at the center of the storm. I play full out. I don't save energy for tomorrow because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. I bring everything I have to everything I do. Half efforts insult my potential. I honor my gifts by using them completely. My confidence is unshakable because it's not based on results. It's based on preparation. I have done the work, paid the price, earned the right to believe in myself. This confidence isn't arrogance. It's the natural result of relentless dedication. I am a student of the game, No matter how much I achieve, I maintain beginner's mind. There's always something new to learn, another level to reach, another dimension of mastery to explore. My hunger for growth is insatiable. I create my own motivation. I don't wait for inspiration to strike. I generate it through action. I don't need external rewards or recognition because the joy of expressing my full potential is reward enough. Today, I will do what others won't. I will think thoughts others are afraid to think, take actions others are afraid to take, persist where others would quit. My willingness to be extraordinary in my efforts guarantees extraordinary results. I am mentally tough. My mind is a fortress that no criticism can penetrate, no setback can crumble, no challenge can overwhelm. I have built this mental strength through daily practice, and it serves me in every moment of adversity. I see clearly. While others are blinded by ego or clouded by emotion, I maintain crystal clarity about reality. I see things as they are, not worse than they are, and simultaneously I see them better than they are. I see what they could become through my efforts. My standards are non-negotiable. I don't lower my standards to meet my performance. I raise my performance to meet my standards. Excellence isn't something I do sometimes, it's something I am always. I am the CEO of my life. Every department, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, reports to me. I take full responsibility for the results in every area. There are no excuses in my vocabulary, only lessons and adjustments. I convert pain into power. What breaks others makes me stronger. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to build resilience. I don't just endure difficulty, I transform it into fuel for my growth. My word is my bond. When I commit to something, it's done. My integrity isn't negotiable. I do what I say I will do, not because others are watching, but because I am watching, and I refuse to disappoint myself. I am present. The past cannot chain me, the future cannot worry me. I exist fully in this moment, bringing all of my powers to bear on the here and now. This moment is where my power lives, and I claim it completely. I trust the process. I don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step. I have faith that consistent right action leads to inevitable success. My job is to show up fully today. The results will take care of themselves. I am building mental muscle with every rep. Every time I choose empowerment over victimhood, action over procrastination, courage over comfort, I am strengthening my psychological power. These aren't just affirmations, they're mental training. My energy is sacred. I protect it fiercely, investing it only in thoughts, people, and activities that align with my vision. I don't waste energy on complaint, gossip, or regret. Every ounce of energy is directed toward creation. I am the storm. While others fear the storm, I am the storm. I bring intensity, purpose, and unstoppable force to my pursuits. But like a storm, I can also be calm at the center, finding peace in the midst of power. Today is my championship day. Not someday in the future when conditions are perfect, but today, with whatever circumstances I face. I will find a way to win today, to grow today, to express my greatness today. I close my eyes and see myself succeeding. I feel the emotions of achievement, the satisfaction of excellence, the joy of full self-expression. This isn't fantasy, it's preview. My visualization is so real that my success becomes inevitable. I am Michael Jordan in my arena. Whatever my field of endeavor, I bring the same mental mastery, the same relentless discipline, the same unwavering belief that made legendary. His example shows me what's possible when consciousness is fully activated. I rise. No matter how many times I fall, I rise. No matter how many setbacks I face, I rise. No matter how impossible the odds seem, I rise. Rising isn't just what I do, it's who I am. These affirmations are not just words, they are incantations that reshape reality. Speak them with power, feel them with intensity, live them with commitment. This is how ordinary minds become extraordinary. This is how good becomes great. This is how you develop the psychology of a champion. Remember, Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan by accident. He became a legend through the daily discipline of mental mastery. Every morning he programmed his mind for greatness. Every day he lived from that programming. Every night he refined and strengthened his mental model. You have the same potential. The only difference between you and Jordan isn't talent. It's the willingness to develop your mental powers with the same obsessive dedication he brought to his craft. Your mind is waiting to be mastered. Your potential is waiting to be expressed. Your greatness is waiting to be claimed. Start now. Start today. Start this moment. Because in the words of Michael Jordan, I've always believed that if you put in the work, the results will come. The work begins in your mind. The results will show up in your life. This is the promise of mental mastery. This is the path of champions. This is your invitation to greatness. Rise to it.